Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlax here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming back to Phantom Knight, particularly Horus Adventure Phantom Knight. This is a deck that I not only like quite a bit, but it is another post-banlist deck to cover, because now we have Rite of Armistier at 3. So, yet another adventure deck to go into here. This is one of the decks that I think definitely benefits the most from Armistier going from 2 to 3. Just having access to the adventure engine more consistently before going into your plays is just so good for a deck like Phantom Knight. However, this is one of the decks that at the same time kind of least needed right to 3, because you can definitely send the Water Enchantress with the Cherubini as part of your combo line. So really, as long as you open the ability to make the Cherubini, could be your Speedroids, could be just opening a Phantom Knight plus a Silent Boots, you already have the adventure plus the whole package there. So I do think that it is still nice to have that third right, because even if you don't need to send the Water Enchantress off the Cherubini, then you can instead send something like Ragged Gloves and have extra Phantom Knight support set up in the graveyard. Yeah, I think that all in all, the ban list and new releases have been very kind to this deck. I say it every single time we cover this deck. Phantom Knight, I think, is consistently the most underrated deck in Master Duel. It sees probably like lower to mid-rogue levels of play in terms of popularity, but in terms of power level, I think this deck has been upper rogue, if not lower tier 3, for like months and months now. I think the only time it was really not great to play this deck was in tier 0 format, where the Ishizu Shufflers really killed this deck's ability to recur all of its resources from the graveyard. However, that format has long since passed, and I do think that this deck is still, despite that being so long ago, being quite underrated. Yeah, for the Horus package here, we are on a bit of a minimalist one, because our deck is already so big. We are simply on 3 Mseti, 1 Hoppy, and 2 King Sark. They're kind of different levels of Horus engines that I'll play in decks, and this 6-card package here is what I would consider to be kind of the bare minimum, right? Of the number of Horus cards you need to play to have a viable engine with it. If I was willing to go up to 60 cards, which would not be a big ask for this deck at all, mind you, then I would definitely include like a 3rd King Sark, the other 2 names, and possibly some of the field spells. But yeah, I think Mseti Hoppy 2 King Sark is really all you need to go into your plays there. So for our rank 8s, we are mainly on turn 1 going into Zombie Vamp if we need to find more plays, but occasionally you'll end up in a situation where you open like Mseti plus full combo anyway, and there it's really nice to lead your turn by going number 90 before you even start your combo. That way you're insulated against monster effects, particularly like Nibiru, for example, is the big one that you like to negate with number 90 if possible here. We are at 45 cards, as I pointed out earlier. Phantom Knight is one of those decks where, like, even if you could trim this deck down to 40, you do, I think, still want to be over 40. And the main reason for that is that, the main reason not just for this deck, but for any deck that I play over 40 cards, I do it because we have some amount of cards that we don't want to open, right? So by increasing the deck size, but keeping your engine and disruption ratios consistent as the deck size increases, you maintain your ability to open the things that you want to, while minimizing your ability to open the things that you don't want to. For this deck in particular, I'm really not looking to start with Takaton Borg or a lot of the adventure stuff like Drinkerback and Fateful. That's searchable. Don't really want to open Hoppy either. Don't even necessarily need to open the King Sark if we can just get one of the Mseti instead, right? Griffin Rider is another adventure card you don't want to open. So as you can see, there is a fair bit. Same with like Phantom Knight's Wing and Shade Brigandine. These cards are searchable / sendable off of other Phantom Knight cards. So that's the reason to do it. Like, as a rule of thumb, if you're only ever going to have your deck be one size, then yeah, I mean, 40 cards is the way to go. But there is nuance to it. Like anything else in life, there is definitely a degree of nuance as to why you might want to run more than 40 cards. So For the extra deck here, again, it's pretty standard. I think the most atypical thing I'm doing is only playing one Break Sword. I see like every single Phantom Knight deck ever on 2 Breaksword, and I kind of don't get it. Like, if you go back and look at my deck profiles, like, I played 2 Breaksword like everyone else for like ever. Like, for almost the entirety of my time playing this deck, I've been on 2 Breaksword, except for recently, right? And I gotta say, I don't get why every build is always on 2 Breaksword. I've never needed more than 1. I've never ever once, and I've been playing this deck since like, you know, season 3, like over 2 years on Master Duel. I can't tell you one single time where I was like, oh, I'm glad I have a second Breaksword. Like, I feel like I only ever go for Breaksword when I'm going for the OTK line. To be fair, there are some situations where you could use Breaksword to out a card, but I think those are pretty few and far between, because, like, yeah, you could destroy any card in the field, but it's not like you can use it against, like, Floodgates, for example, right? Because it's an Xyz monster, and if your opponent has a Floodgate, they're probably not giving you the opportunity to even make this in the first place. Big monsters, like one with a lot of attack points, you can just go into the Arc Rebellion and then steal the attack and probably OTK them from there, right? So maybe there is a use case for it that I'm not aware of, but I've only ever needed 1 Breaksword whenever I've played this deck, so that's why I only... Because I've even had people ask me, like, oh, why don't you play the second Breaksword? And I'm just like, I don't... My question is more like, why do you play the second Breaksword? Does it come up? Again, if it does, I'm open to, you know, being corrected about that, but I've never needed the second one ever in my life, so... plus, on top of that, we need to find room for the rank 8s, and also I think SP Little Knight is quite important. I don't think you need me to tell you that, though. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I think this is a pretty standard, solid build. There's not really anything here that I'm missing that, like, is usually played, aside from, again, second Breaksword, but we're on 3 Droplets. There have been times in the past where I forget to include Droplet, but Droplet is quite good in this deck, so we're definitely going to be jamming a play set of that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the list, so I'm going to break it down card by card, and we'll see some games. We're on 3 Max C, 3 Speed Raid Terratop, 1 Speed Raid Takaton Borg, 2 the Phantom Knight of Ancient Cloak, 3 the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, 1 the Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 the Phantom Knights of Tord Scale, 2 Water Enchantress of the Temple, 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, 3 Imseti Glory of Horus, 1 Hoppy Guidance of Horus, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 3 Rite of Armasir, 1 Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon, 1 Fateful Adventure, 2 King Sarcophagus, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 3 Forbidden Droplet, 1 Phantom Knight's Wing, 1 the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, and then 2 Phantom Knights Fogblade. That's going to do it for our main deck. For the extra deck, we are on 1 Levier the Sea Dragon, 1 the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, 1 Raiders Knight, 1 Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, 1 number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, 1 the Zombie Vampire, 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus Sky Thunder, 1 Lake Spider, 1 Cherubini Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardish, and then finally 1 Access Code Talker. That'll do it for our list. Let's see some games. Okay, our first game is going to be against Horus. Woo! Everyone's favorite deck. I find it funny that people complain, or rather when people complain about ladder being, it's nothing but Snake Eye and Horus Stun. It's like, Horus Stun isn't that bad of a matchup. Like, let's be real. Nobody likes playing against Stun, and I'm certainly chief among those people. Well, not chief, but you know what I mean. I'm definitely, like, among those people who do not like playing against Stun. That said, Stun is not a deck that's typically favored in most matchups, so I'm not, like, concerned when I play against it. I might be slightly annoyed if they flip a Floodgate, but, like, whatever. We surrender if we can't out it, life goes on. But anyway, I'm definitely going to call by the Imseti here. Not using Ash Blossom in case I need to Ash Blossom another effect later. They do have the field spell as well here, but they surprisingly don't even use the search. I guess it's not that surprising, to be fair, because it's not like they can Imseti again this turn anyway, and searching another Horus name really does not do anything for them. So they have the field spell, bringing back Imseti, setting a card, and then passing. Yeah, our opening hand was like, honestly, even if we didn't get Gamma, it really wasn't that ideal. Like, it might seem like a really good hand on the surface, but the thing is, we can't really use Torrent Scales if we also use, like, we can't normal summon Torrent Scales, send to Fogblade if we also do the Adventure Engine. So, yeah, it wasn't the most cohesive opening hand, but we can definitely work with it, especially through our opponent's stuff here. You're gonna normal summon the Torrent Scale F. I'll pitch Maxi, and they have an Imperm here. I pitched Maxi because I knew that they could use King Sark to add Imseti during the follow-up turn, and I definitely want to stop that from happening. And I'm not even going to wait for them to, like, add Imseti and then activate Imseti. I'm actually just going to Ash Blossom the field spell effect, because even if, like, they field spell for Imseti and then activate Imseti, pitch another card, and then I Ash Blossom, that still gives them another body that they can summon off of the, out of the graveyard, right? They can summon another Imseti and they'll have 2 3K beaters instead of just the 1. So that's why I Ashed there. Here, I'm going to Fogblade in response to this attack. I didn't do that last time because I wasn't really concerned about taking damage, but I do need this Torrent Scales to stay on the field to be able to use its effects. Opponent is going to throw down a bit of a floodgate here. The deck lockdown states that neither player can add cards from the deck to their hand except by drawing them, and monsters cannot be special summoned from the main deck. Not being able to search is a little bit annoying, but we can definitely play through this here, I think. So, top deck's Rite of Armaseer, although to be fair, I think even if... Let me think. Yeah, the main problem here is not even the deck lockdown, but it's actually that I don't have the Fogblade in the graveyard. There is kind of a part of me that wishes I wouldn't have set this, because if I hadn't set this, then I took the 3k damage anyway, right? Then during my next turn, I could have Torrent Scales, pitched Fogblade, opponent would have negated with Imperm. Although, to be fair, then I would have lost the Torrent Scales to the Imseti. So maybe it was right that I said it. Who knows, but... I'm just going to defend with the token. Don't really have that many more plays to make here. They get to duster away my stuff, which actually I don't mind the Fogblade getting dustered at all. They battle over the token as well for some reason and leave the Torrent Scale up, which is completely fine with me. Because now I get to use Torrent Scale, pitch the card I top deck, send a Ragged Gloves, Fogblade F, now that it's finally in the graveyard, to bring back the Ragged Gloves, and they just concede. I don't know, I really would have liked more of an opportunity to think out this follow-up turn and actually plan it. What would I have done from here? Because that's the thing, I wouldn't be able to OTK, and we're still under deck lockdown, right? So, like, I can't really exactly go Cherubney, send Water Enchantress, try to do adventure stuff, because we're, again, still under deck lockdown. I could have gone for Break Sword and popped the deck lockdown, but then we're kind of locked into going into Arc Rebellion, which is not bad, and probably just what I would have done here. But again, there's no really way to lethal here, or even set up significant number of plays. Actually, to be fair, I probably would have Break Sword and popped the field spell. Actually, I definitely would have done that, not the deck lockdown, because the deck lockdown will destroy itself after a couple of turns anyway, but by popping the field spell, I can make sure that they need to top deck Imseti or King Sark to get their plays going again, right? So, yeah, I think that's how I would have done it, but that was a very early concede from the opponent. There was definitely still more duel to go there. Anyway, let's check out our next game. Alright, this one is against Exosister, splashing a little bit of a lab package. At the very least, they have Arias to help them get some of their trap cards off a little bit sooner, it looks like. We're going to be making the second move. Yeah, graveyard deck against going second against Exo are not ideal, but thankfully it looks like they're only going to set 2 and then pass, not having that good of an opening play. Our hand is looking pretty solid. I'm going to Rhoda for Silent Boots here because we already have Ancient Cloak. Don't mind me using this effect. I was just, I thought that was a search effect for some reason. Anyway, they're going to try to Shifter, but we have the Called by here, thankfully. This deck does not play very well under Shifter, and that might be, I guess, kind of the thing this deck has going against it, is that it's a very, very graveyard-focused deck in a very graveyard-focused meta, which means that a lot of people are running Graveyard Hate, which means that this deck will catch stray Graveyard Hate, right? Looks like they have a Call by here for the Water Enchantress, so no adventure setup, but we do still get to make the majority of our plays here. Get to make the Shade Brigandine here, and then go for the Rusty Bardish. We can use Bardish F to send Torn Scales from our deck to the graveyard and set a Fog Blade. And we still have Ancient Cloak and Silent Boots in there. So, gonna Cloak for the Ragged Gloves. Torn Scales will come back by its own effect. I can Torn Scales, pitch the Ragged Glove, send a Phantom Knight's Wing. Now I have another trap card to bring my stuff back with. Bringing back the Ragged Gloves and then overlaying. You want to overlay here because the cards brought back by the trap cards are banished. So, going for the Leviair. Leviair detach Ragged Gloves to target the Cloak. They have an Imperm here to stop that from happening, so I'm not going to really be able to do too much more after this, but what I do still get to do is use the Ragged Gloves effect to send the remaining Fog Blade to the graveyard. Now I can Fog Blade, bring back the Silent Boots, move to battle phase. Gotta get that extra 200 damage there. But not just that, we are also... Actually, that's right, because I was going to make SP Little Knight, but then I realized, oh yeah, I can just make Zeus instead. That was my original plan with bringing back the Silent Boots here, is I was going to link those into SP, and then just pass over to the opponent. But again, we'll definitely take a Zeus here as well. It's actually not that often at all that you make Zeus in this deck. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time I only have Zeus in here out of obligation because we play so many Xyz monsters, but again, it's not very common at all that you actually go into this, because a lot of the time when you Xyz summon, you're either going to use Leviair to immediately bring something back and then link it off, you know, or you're going to use the Break Sword to go into Raider's Knight to go into Arc Rebellion. But yes, we do also have the 8s as well, to be fair. Anyway, regardless, I'm very glad we play Zeus in a situation like this, and it does not seem like my opponent is able to make any significant plays through it. So that's a pretty good showcasing of some alternate combo lines for when you get disrupted and or have to pivot when you're not able to OTK. So yeah, there we go. Got a couple more games to show. Let's go into the next one. Okay, here we're going to have a game against Labyrinth. Not just a Labyrinth package like was splashed in that last Exo deck, but a full-on Labyrinth deck. And we are once again taking the second turn. Definitely not ideal against a deck like Lab. But this hand is actually looking really good. Okay, they lead with a field spell. Lets them special the Lady Lab from hand. Set 2 and then pass. Definitely much scarier turn ones that Lab could have had here. Fogblade, actually not a bad draw. It gives us something to potentially discard off of Torn Scale here. Gonna lead with the adventure stuff. Well, actually, it looks like I'm going for the Imseti first, just to see what I draw. Call by, not horrible here. Okay, they have Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch, which will destroy my King Sark, and then also send a card from their deck to the graveyard. I think the reason I went for adventure stuff here is to be able to summon and then get the equip spell and then go for the Wandering Griffin Rider. Yeah, absolutely gonna call by that Ariana. I do not want them to get it back whatsoever. Alright, and then from there, our other King Sark. I'm sure the opponent was probably fuming when they saw that. Anyway, like I said, that'll let us search the Draca back off of Fateful. Now we can discard it and get the Griffin Rider, equip, and then summon Griffin Rider. Now we have our Omni established. I'm much less concerned than I was before. I'm gonna use my King Sark here, and then they concede. So, my plan here, I don't know, actually, I maybe should have just, no, but I already have the Fogblade in the yard, right? Yeah, so King Sark, send Hoppy, and then summon it. I could normal summon Torn Scale, link it off for even something like IP, and then bring it back right away with Fogblade, and then Link Climb from there. Yeah, there were tons of different ways to find lethal there, and we had the Wandering Griffin Rider all set up for the opponent's remaining face down card as well to stop that if it in fact tried to interrupt us. Alright, we have one last game to see. Let us finish with that. Okay, our final opponent for this video is on a 60-card hero variant. I do actually remember how this game played out off the top of my head. This will show us some good disruption points for playing against hero, if you're interested in learning that. Taking the second turn, yet again, both could lead with E-Call, and all we have is one Ash Blossom. The hero combo line is so long, and there's so many searches. If all you have is one Ash Blossom, it can be very hard a lot of the time to tell where is best to use it, but I can show you. So, look at a Ferris for Increase. Increase, tribute the Ferris to special. Now, this effect of Increase, a Vision Hero Increase, that summons a Vision Hero from the deck. This is what you want to Ash Blossom against heroes. If you only have one Ash, or Valor or Imperm, I think for that matter too, and you want to cut off heroes combo line, this is the best point to do it, because what Increase is trying to do here is special summon Vision Hero Vion. Vision Hero Vion is the one that on summon lets them send a hero from deck to graveyard, which will be Shadow Mist to then add a hero, but then also Vion can banish a card from the graveyard to then also add polymerization from deck to hand. So because Vion sets up so much of the plays by itself, we want to stop it from hitting the board altogether. So yeah, we're going to just Ash Blossom the Increase effect here. They've also already used their normal on the Stratos, so it's not very likely they're going to have follow-up plays. And indeed, it looks like here they're going to have to set 2 and then pass back over to us. Our hand is looking amazing. Going to lead with the Fateful Adventure and then summon Terratop to get the Fateful Adventure search. Also Chain Block the Terratop. Chain Block won't do much against an Imperm, but it's a thought that counts, right? And also, we don't necessarily need to search Takaton Borg here to be able to have plays. Alright, Terratop negated. We can still throw down the Rite of Armistier. Opponent, however, is going to Chain Maxi. Definitely not ideal for us. What I'm going to do is, of course, summon the token. That'll give them a draw. I'm still going to use the Fateful Adventure effect, and I think it is worth it to summon Griffin Rider here. Even if it means giving them another draw. Establishing the Omni, I think, is worth it. Gonna bounce their back row. Oh, no. I'm actually not summoning Griffin Rider here. I'm gonna wait until their turn, because this can be summoned during either main phase, and it is a quick effect. So we'll simply battle over the Stratos here. It's also actually fine if we don't battle over Increase, because if they have a monster on the field, they can't use the spell card A Hero Lives, summon a hero from their deck. Now, because we inflicted damage, they do get to summon an Increase from their graveyard, or rather put it in the spell trap. And then, yeah, summon it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain the Griffin Rider. I should have seen this coming sooner, to be fair. Like, I should have summoned Griffin Rider sooner anyway, and that way I can negate the Increase effect. But here, if nothing else, I can negate Vion and destroy it. And I do think it is worth it to give them a draw and give up my Griffin Rider to stop Vion here. Again, Vision Hero Vion is the crux of a lot of their plays, so you definitely want to stop that if possible. It's so much so they're actually going to run their own Increase into my Adventure token to set up Increase in the spell trap to then summon it to summon another Vion from their deck. But here that also frees up their board to summon out the monster from A Hero Lives, right? Alright, now here, because they're threatening to blow up back row, I do have to use Droplet. But they messed up here a little bit, so they actually chained the Increase effect to the Droplet, which was actually a huge misplay, because Droplet does not target. It does not target, which means that I have not actually negated anything yet. Which means I can now simply negate the Increase that just got summoned to the board, and now they can't summon Vion again, which is enough to actually get them to concede here. So yeah, I think this game, if nothing else, demonstrated just how important Vision Hero Vion is to the hero game plan and how important it is to stop it. And as you can see, the hero players definitely do not have nearly as much to do if they do not have access to that one card there. So if you've ever struggled playing against hero, if you've ever felt like the combo line is so long you don't know what to do, hopefully this game will give you a little bit of clarity and insight. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so very much for watching these games. Let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.